have ever listened to a race on the radio, then you have heard the voices of the Performance Racing Network. It's quite an operation to get a race on the air. I wanted to know how they got it done, so I went behind the scenes at the Performance Racing Network.
Kansas out of turn 4 will lead Jimmy Johnson across the stripe by 3 car lengths. He will win here at Bristol.
Since 1981, the Performance Racing Network has been painting pictures for those who cannot be at the racetrack.
I recognize that on radio, we don't have casual fans, we have hardcore fans, and we get to describe to them exactly what we're seeing. Whether there's a big lead by one driver or they're bunched up in the front, there's always racing when you've got 40 cars on the track.
Though the broadcast seems like it is part ballet.
Let's go back down to O'Reilly Auto Parts pit reporter Wendy Venturini.
And part stampede.
Carl Edwards is in the wall. He's hammered by Kurt Busch off the back straightaway.
You just kind of develop verbal choreography among the on-air play-by-play guys. We've been doing it together for a long time, but I can just pretty much sense when Doug or Mark is dropping the call to me.
But really, if you think about it this way, when we're all talking amongst each other and having a conversation, we kind of know when the other person is finished. Maybe it's the inflection in their voice, maybe it's what they say that transfers it over to you. You get that. But it's not much different than talking on the phone with someone.
And it takes an orchestra of people to produce.
For us to put a race on the air, we have oftentimes 9 people that will be on the air. 4 pit reporters, a turn announcer. We only have 1 turn announcer at Bristol. Most tracks we have 2 or 3 people in the booth. That's just the announcers. It's a big production. It takes about 15 people to do a race broadcast.
Even though a lot goes into the broadcast, the voices that bring it to you say it's just a fun day at the racetrack for them.
I'm really lucky that I've never had to have a real job, that I just get to play on the radio. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
It really is quite an operation. I want to thank the guys at PRN for letting me pull back the curtain. All right, now you can see we're joined by a driver. This is Regan Smith. He drives the number 7 car for Tommy Baldwin Racing. Thanks for joining us, Regan. First thing I want to ask you is, we were talking a little bit about the track. How's the track? How's the racing going to be tomorrow?
The track is widened out, so it started off the weekend. We were all on the bottom, a little bit nervous about what was going to happen. It didn't look like it was taking rubber like it normally does. The tires were turning almost to powder is what it appeared from our seat. And sometime during Cup Happy Hour, about halfway through it, the top groove started coming in, as we've seen at Bristol. And watching the Xfinity race today, it continued. The top groove was the preferred groove for that entire race. So we're going to see a lot of guys fighting for that top line tomorrow, wanting to be up against the wall. And if they're not up there, they're going to be beating and banging their way to try and get up there.
Regan, I'm curious. Does Colossus play into this at all? Like, if you were leading the race, could you look up and see if anybody was close behind you?
At Bristol, if I've got enough time to look up and watch a TV, I'm not doing my job on the racetrack. Something's not going good. So as cool as Colossus is, and I know for the fans out there, it's a lot of fun to watch that thing. We don't need to be watching it in the race cars, but it is quite the spectacle.
It'd be tempting, though.
Well, it's nervous when you're standing over there in the garage area and you look up and here's this, 700-ton tower above you that's hanging by cables. You're thinking, I hope it was really good engineers that planned this thing out and got that up there.
I'm curious, what's a lap like at Bristol? I mean, it's fast. It's not as fast as other tracks, but I've heard that it seems really fast in the car.
Yeah, it does. So the best way I can describe it is basically it's like walk out into your yard and, put a stake in the ground, hook a chain to it, and just run around it as quick as you can and try to do that in 15 seconds, except it's a half mile around here. It is one of the most intense things we do, and the sensation of speed at Bristol compared to other racetracks is like no other. Something to do with the fact that it's just so narrow, the lines that we run here, how many cars are packed in together. It's as crazy as anything. The only place that even remotely compares, I would say, would be Dover, Delaware. 2 concrete racetracks, so go figure, but it's an extremely quick lap.
Regan, we know you're a busy guy. We appreciate you showing up today.
Guys, I appreciate having me, and looking forward to tomorrow.
Best of luck to you. When we come back, Casey rejoins us, plus Jeff Birchfield of the Johnson City Press with his racing opinions. Stay with us.
Physically, it's very challenging because of how fast, how small it is, and how many laps you run. So it's a really tough challenge, and I love that about Bristol.
It's Bristol, baby, is brought to you by Ridgewood Barbecue, Wolf Williams and Reynolds Attorneys, and Pizza Plus.